I've been using the brand new 13-inch iPad Pro M4 for a week now, and I wanted to give my thoughts after using it extensively as my only computer. How does it compare to my previous iPad? What are some things that are surprising, and what are some things that are unfortunately still the same? First off, let's talk about some of the things that unfortunately haven't changed much. First off is battery life. The new 13-inch iPad Pro is the thinnest device Apple has ever made, but that comes with one caveat, and that is the fact that they didn't make the battery life any better with the new iPad because, well, to keep it thin, they couldn't make the battery any larger. Now, they didn't claim to make the battery life longer. It's basically the same as the previous iPads, but unfortunately, I wish the battery life would be a little better. Now, I can't say that I necessarily disagree with Apple on this one because I probably wouldn't have chose the 13-inch if it was actually much bigger and bulkier, because that was one of the reasons why I went to this model in general, because I wanted a more portable iPad with a bigger screen because of weight and all that. So I get it. But overall, battery life isn't really any better than the previous model at all. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, but you have that new M4 processor, which is twice as fast as the previous model and 27 times faster than the M1, you know, all the crazy statistics Apple gives you. And yes, you'd be right, this is the most powerful iPad they've ever made and the first device that actually has the brand new M4 chip. But here's the actual reality. It still is very limited by the Mac OS. I've been really challenging myself recently, within the last week of getting this device, to do every single task on here, even including ones that I kind of naturally want to migrate back to my computer to do, like some photo editing or some multitasking with a bunch of different apps or all that stuff. And while it's powerful enough to handle all that, still one of the biggest limitations when it comes to the iPad is the fact that it's an iPad OS. And there are just so many little things that drive me nuts when I'm trying to use an application just the way I use it on the Mac, and it's just not the same. Something as simple as Slack that I use all the time. When I switch between workspaces on my main computer, I press Command 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it switches between all my workspaces because I have a lot of different Slack channels that I have accessed at all times with clients. You can't do it on the iPad. Command 1, 2, 3, 4, all that stuff, nothing, doesn't change whatsoever. Like, I just don't understand why. Or something like Canva, which I use all the time on my computer and which works really well on the iPad as well. Something as simple as the way that you double click to edit text or make tweaks or click and drag things just doesn't operate the same. Like, the iPad is more powerful than the computer that I have, but yet it doesn't function the same, and it just drives me crazy. Why can't they make these applications the same? It's not a power issue. These iOS developers need to make the iPad apps better, or Apple needs to make you be able to use the native apps on the iPad for the Mac. That stuff still drives me nuts. Okay, that was a slight rant. Okay, anyway, those are some of my gripes. Let's talk about some of the things that I really, really like with this new iPad. The first is by far the screen. The screen is fantastic, even in bright sunlight like I'm out here right now. You probably can't tell on screen, but this thing is super bright. I can see incredibly well. No doubt about it, the battery life will suffer if you have this brightness on full, but I have never found a screen to be as bright and as great in outdoors as this. I do have the paper-like screen protector on here. You can see it's more of the matte. This is not the nano texture glass one. This is just the standard glass with the screen protector, which I always love having, and it's amazing. You can see it so good. I find that I'm constantly actually making the brightness less bright just to save battery life, but when you need that brightness, this thing's awesome. It looks incredible. Videos look incredible. Color, all that stuff just looks really, really good. Also, even just from a portability size, we talked about the fact that it's obviously the thinnest device they ever made, and I find myself wanting to use this device more than any other iPad I've even had because the screen is so great and awesome to use, but yet it doesn't feel heavy and bulky. It just feels so comfortable. When I previously tested out the 12.9-inch iPad a while back, it just always felt big and annoying and bulky. This just feels fantastic. I've also absolutely been loving that new camera that is placed here in horizontal positioning. I've used this for multiple Zoom calls and FaceTimes and just conversations with my team, and I love it. It allows me to use this for so many things that I previously would just be annoyed with, having to get my phone out or get my computer just so I could have a screen and a camera that's facing me. That's been a huge plus to me. Also, the new Magic Keyboard is outstanding. It feels so good to type with. It feels so good to use. That aluminum is such a great option feels like a MacBook Air to me. So comfortable, easy to use. That new function row is just amazing to use, even though I still find myself constantly going up here to adjust the volume or adjust the brightness by swiping down here because I'm so used to not having that function row. But when I remember, it is so nice having that volume, that quick mute button, brightness, that's great. That new iPad Pencil is also great. That little haptic feedback that you get when you squeeze this now and feel it change your tools, and that hovering and using it, it feels great. I've always loved the way the Apple Pencil felt, but this new haptic feedback just feels great. Still wish they could somehow figure out a way to make this an eraser so you naturally could just erase if you wanted to. Even though you can just double tap and go to the eraser, I'd rather just quickly go like this because it just feels natural. I don't know, that's just me. So overall, am I pleased with my purchase and decision to upgrade? I would say yes, because of the fact that that new screen, this new Magic Keyboard, the new pencil, it just makes the iPad experience even better. And because I use the iPad so much, it just feels more worth it than ever to be able to use this as my primary device. Now, would I say that the average person should run out and get this upgrade, whether it's the 11-inch or the 13-inch, if you have the iPad M1 or M2 and you don't really feel like your iPad is missing much now? No, the answer is probably not, because, well, the honest truth is you really can't notice the power difference that much because, like I said, you're still being limited by what the apps are on the iPad in the first place. Even someone who used the iPad extensively for the last 3 years, the M1 was my iPad, and I really didn't have a specific reason to upgrade, and I use the iPad a ton. So the average person, this power would just be pretty expensive and unnecessary. I can say that honestly because this video is not sponsored, nor do I get anything for free from Apple. I buy everything myself, and I just like to bring videos like this to share my thoughts of what the experience is with the iPad Pro, and overall I love it. But do you have to run out and get it? Probably not.